Hello and welcome to Lore of the Cards, the series that looks to find the lore hidden in your Hearthstone deck. So it's official, not long until Blizzard reveals the next Hearthstone expansion, and with a new expansion comes new cards, new mechanics and new lore to explore. But what will this expansion be? Well, first of all, let's go to this guy's Toast channel and see if he's been able to use the power of carved butter and on-point memeage to find out the expansion before Blizzard even get to say one word on it. That's odd. It doesn't look like it. I guess the staff of Blizzard Jail are keeping a close eye on him this time. That, or he'll release a video just before I release this one and I'll look like a complete dumbass. Either way, this year I'm going to have a go at predicting the expansion. I don't have the same rigorous methods or accuracy as the aforementioned crusty one, but I do have a basic knowledge of Warcraft lore, and that's the only tool I need, especially when I have plenty of hints and clues to draw from. So what am I working with, Chief? Ah yes, the image outlining the expansion's release plans for the year of the Mammoth, and oh god damn it. Yeah, that's all we have so far, yet based on just this image alone, I've come up with 3 possibilities for the next expansion. First is the Mage City of Dalaran. This city-state has played a huge role in Warcraft lore, currently acting as the main capital city of the Legion expansion, a role it previously played in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion as well. Around 2,800 years ago, humanity was a tribal culture, but this would change when the Arathi brought the other tribes to heel. In a world where the trolls had become more bold and ruthless, the leader of the Arathi, Thoradin, knew that if not together, humanity could fall. Through force and shrewd negotiation, Thoradin was able to form the Kingdom of Arathor. These years also saw the beginning of the Troll Wars. Millennia before this, the High Elves had founded their capital atop ancient ruins of the Amani troll tribe. The trolls attacked but were bested by the elves' magic. Now with help from the Zandalari tribe, they sought vengeance. If not for the elves reaching out for aid from the Kingdom of Arathor, the trolls would have had their vengeance. As part of their deal to aid the elves, 100 humans were trained in the art of magic. After the trolls' eventual defeat, the Kingdom of Arathor expanded across the lands of the Eastern Kingdoms. They coveted the fertile lands of Tirisfal Glades, establishing a stronghold to protect their farming lands against gnolls, kobolds and other dangerous pests. Many former soldiers settled in the area and renamed it Lordaeron. Other Arathi expanded into the region they called Gilneas, constructing several harbours. The waters were rich with fish and allowed for easy trade with the rest of the kingdom. In time, citizens would discover an island rich in minerals and other valuable natural resources, establishing the mighty maritime outpost of Kael'Thas. Over the decades, each of these newly discovered cities would continue to grow, establishing their own way of life and customs. Naturally, the ruling powers in Arathor's capital of Strom began to worry that these cities would break away from the kingdom. Despite their best efforts to prevent it, many cities did gain more autonomy. The first of these settlements to break away from Arathor was the trading outpost of Dalaran, right in the heart of the kingdom. Dalaran would elect the mage Ardogan to rule them, and he would create a haven for mages. At the time, this was very much needed, as the general populace of Arathor had come to view mages with increased suspicion and wariness. Dalaran would become the first city-state to break away from Arathor, and many more would follow until the kingdom was basically no more. Dalaran has helped cultivate the magical skills of many mages important to Warcraft lore, some even heading the city's ruling council, the Council of Six: Jaina Proudmoore, Antonidas, Kael'Thas Sunstrider, Ronin, Kel'Thuzad and Khadgar, to name a few. It was once a member of the Alliance, became neutral, went back to the Alliance, and is now neutral once again. It has survived wars, utter annihilation, and being torn from the ground to float above the world of Azeroth. So why do I think Dalaran may be the expansion? The runes of the teaser match exactly with some of the runes on the Khadgar hero art, the current head of the Council of Six. The style of the runes is also similar to several mage spell effects in WoW when using arcane abilities. There are many possibilities with Dalaran, but is it perhaps a bit too close in theme to Karazhan? If it were the expansion, this would perhaps be an optimum time to add enchantment cards, giving permanent boosts to your board or your deck when played. Anyway, I'm already yammering more than I intended to with this quick prediction video, so let's move on. The Wastes of Icecrown. This one's a bit more of a reach, but it's been a while since we had an undead themed expansion added to the game, the last being the Naxxramas Adventure. This could possibly see the birth of the Undead tribe in Hearthstone. Icecrown is the home of the Frozen Throne, the seat of power of the Lich King. Joint first place for the best Warcraft villain of all freaking time. Well, for me. Gul'dan's the other. Thanks for asking. The Lich King was a creation of the demon lord Kil'Jaeden, binding the soul of the orc Ner'Zhul to a set of armour fashioned by the Nathrezim. Ner'Zhul was sent to Azeroth to weaken the world for the Burning Legion's second invasion attempt. While the king was restricted to a block of ice, his power was incredible, able to bind legions of undead to his will, which would come to be called the Scourge. The Scourge would assault the Eastern Kingdoms in the Third War, somewhat annoying the Prince of Lordaeron, Arthas Menethil. Tricked into thinking the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis was behind the Scourge, Arthas would obsessively pursue him to Northrend, at one point burning his own ships to prevent his men from going home when they were recalled by his father, King Terenas. Not that they would know, Arthas blaming the mercenaries that had aided him for the ships burning. Arthas' situation looked bleak. Mal'Ganis' undead hordes far surpassing his men in number, but there was a glimmer of light in the darkness. Arthas' friend Muradin Bronzebeard had come to Northrend too in search of a legendary blade, teaming up with Arthas when the two ran into each other on the continent. This blade was called Frostmourne. This was in fact a part of the Lich King, a sword Ner'Zhul had thrust from his icy prison to one day claim a champion to serve him. And what a champion it found. Arthas, driven to avenge those the Scourge had claimed back in his kingdom of Lordaeron, took up the sword, ignoring the ominous warnings. The block of ice around the sword shattered, mortally wounding Muradin. Rather than check on his friend, Arthas left him to die to claim his vengeance on Mal'Ganis. Vengeance Ner'Zhul let Arthas claim. From here, the sword whispered in Arthas' mind, slowly driving him mad, turning him into a tool of the king. Under Arthas' command, the Scourge would bring even more of the Eastern Kingdoms to its knees, including the elven capital of Kael'Thas, and successfully summon the Legion. The Lich King as an entity is immortal, as there are now so many undead within the Scourge. Without a Lich King, they would run rampant and consume the world of Azeroth. First, the king was Ner'Zhul. Then, Arthas put on his master's crown, becoming the new king. When he was defeated in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, a disfigured Bolvar Fordragon took it upon himself to act as the jailer of the damned. The reason I predict this may be a theme for the expansion is the colouring of the runes. Frostmourne itself is emblazoned with runes that glow a very similar blue. The reason I say this is more of a reach than Dalaran is that none of the runes quite match with those upon Frostmourne. There will be a wealth of lore to draw from for cards here. Not only do you have the Wrath of the Lich King era to draw from, in which Icecrown contains several dungeons and raids, many of the bosses having some pretty awesome designs, but you also have modern day Icecrown, where several hero classes travel to discover their artifact weapons. Bolvar has now allied with the Knights of the Ebon Blade and is taking a much more active role in helping defend Azeroth from the Burning Legion's third invasion. Thank God I included timestamps in the description for people who don't give a damn about my lore ramblings, eh? Probably should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. Oh well, my final expansion prediction is the Nexus, home to the Blue Dragonflight, a place intimately connected with Azeroth's magical energy, and a lot of the zone's colour palette is blue, including many of the runes etched upon the floors of the Nexus and some more ethereal runes found there too. The Blue Dragonflight was blessed with mastery of the arcane and given a duty to make sure it would never be abused by the Titan Watchers millennia ago, when they made Malygos the aspect of magic. The Blues would suffer great tragedy, losing most of their race during the War of the Ancients 10,000 years ago at the hands of the maddened black aspect Deathwing. This sent Malygos into a state of madness for thousands of years. When he finally recovered, not long before the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, he declared war on all mortal spellcasters, deeming their use of magic irresponsible. One of Malygos' final memories before his insanity was that of the Night Elves abusing the arcane so much that it lured the Burning Legion to Azeroth for their first invasion. He did not want that to happen again. Using an artifact called the Arcanomicon gifted to Malygos by the Titans, the aspect redirected Azeroth's magical ley lines to beneath the Nexus, taking power from mortal spellcasters. However, denying mortals their ability to cast magic as effectively did have repercussions. The lands around the Nexus began to split, unstable rifts formed between the physical realm and the twisting nether, dangerous magical entities emerging from them. Malygos' attempt to correct mortals' use of magic had in fact caused more problems. Malygos' actions birthed the Nexus War, mortal spellcasters and the Red Dragonflight versus the Blues. Malygos, while trying to do good, was misguided and too stubborn to see he was wrong. Eventually, he was slain in a mighty struggle with the heroes of Azeroth. Kael'Thas would go on to become the new aspect of the Blue Flight. In fact, it's his art used for the Malygos card. After the dragons became mortal with the defeat of Deathwing, the Blues were in disarray. Kael'Thas proclaimed the flight disbanded, each Blue free to pursue their own individual desires. Again, the Nexus, and maybe even the Nexus Warriors that would include Dalaran, has a wealth of lore to draw from. We'd see a good injection of dragons into the game again, and it also makes sense to add enchantment cards with this expansion theme too. Which of my 3 suggestions do you think is most likely? What do you think it is? I'd be really interested to find out. I hope you enjoyed this little prediction video with some lore thrown in. If you like lore, boy do I have a subscription suggestion for you. His name is Novel and he's fan to us. I was hinting you should subscribe to us. But also subscribe to him too. If you like the video, then hit the like button. Makes sense, really. And tell your friends about us too. To keep up to date with Six Gamers, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and follow on Twitch to catch any live streams. Until next time, happy Hearthstoning. The expansion hype is real, my friends.